Hello everyone, and welcome to Steel Forest Welding and Forge. Today, my friends, I'm going to show you how to make this hand-forged horse bottle opener. When trying to measure out a coiled surface, use this tape measure. It's called a carpenter's tape measure. It makes it a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and cut this part off and throw it in the forge and straighten it out on the anvil. It's a lot easier to stick this part into your hardy hole than to try to just beat it out flat. Now we're going to straighten it up. And this is a nice little technique for straightening up your parts. Just simply put it in your post vise. Put it in, crank it down, then turn your part 90 degrees, crank it down again. Do that along the entire length of your part to help square it up and flatten it out. Next, to take the stress out of these parts, we're going to thermocycle each part 3 times. You can see me keeping track of it with this soapstone on my welding table. Nice little technique to help you from getting confused with how many times you've thermocycled. So the next step is to determine what the hardening process for this steel is. We're going to check for air cooling, which this spring, a coil spring, is highly unlikely, and oil quenching. Currently, I have a big heavy piece of 3/4 inch square bar heating up in my forge that I'm going to use to preheat my quenching oil, which I'm using mineral oil. Kind of experimental, but we'll see what happens. To bring that up to a decent temperature so it's not so cold that my steel cracks. So first, we're going to check to see if this is air cooled. This is the first piece that I worked on, or thermocycled, and we're just going to see if this is right now hard. We can test that with a file. And as you can see, the file bites right into it. So this is not hard. So now we know that this piece is not air hardened. So I'm guessing it's going to be probably oil hardened. So once that bar is heated up, we'll take it and drop it in the quench tank, and we'll take the test piece that I made and quench that in the oil and see if that hardens it. Now we're going to heat this part up to non-magnetic. You can see me testing it there with a magnet. Now you get to this temperature a lot faster than you realize, so pay attention and don't overheat your part. So now that we've quenched this end in oil, it's time to see now if it'll still pass the file test. If this is hardened properly, this file should skate right across it and should not cut into it. I mean, that's pretty hard, but this file is taking just a bit off. So I'd say this is pretty hard. Now, this will be fine for the tools that we'll be using. However, I would not recommend this for knife making. So it looks like mineral oil probably would not be the best thing to use for this. It would probably be better to use vegetable oil, but it's what we have and this will work. So now that we've determined what our quenching process is and hardening process, we're ready to start forging. So I'm actually going to be making 2 tools here. One sharp-pointed punch and one slot-faced punch. Now the process for making both of them is basically the same, so I'm just going to be showing one. For this first part, we just need to draw out this bar to a point. This is going to be used to make the eyes and the nostril on the horse's face. For the slot punch, instead of pointing it, we just flatten the face down to make it nice and oval-shaped. Next, I'm taking this round bar and changing the profile to first a square and then to a hexagon. Next, I'll be giving both these parts a quick and dirty hot rasping, followed by cleaning it up with a file on the bench vise. Next, we're going to anneal these punches by bringing them up to critical temperature and then allowing them to cool in a bucket of sand overnight. Just as before, to harden it, we're going to preheat our oil, heat our parts up to non-magnetic temperature, and quench in the oil. The material that I'm using is 1 inch by 3/8 flat, but I gotta tell you, this stuff was pretty beefy. You should probably use 1 inch by 1/4 inch. Using half-face blows about 1 inch in from the front, we're gonna drive this down about 1/4 inch. This is gonna create a step that creates the jaw and the front of the horse's cheek. Next, we're going to move to the front corner and we're going to establish the step that creates the horse's chin. Now, this doesn't take a whole lot of effort, even on bar this thick, just a few really good blows. And off camera, I cleaned up this step a little bit and also rounded up the top corner of that to create the horse's nose. Next, we're going to move our part to the back edge and make the step that creates the end of the horse's jaw and the beginning of the horse's cheek. And again, if your part's really hot, you don't have to strike too hard. This probably only takes a few really solid blows. Next, we move back to the front edge and we create another step. This is what makes the back of the cheek and the horse's neck. Now this process takes quite a bit of effort because we want to draw this length out using half face blows and full face blows to create that taper for the horse's neck. Now I'm knocking down the corners of this to make these edges nice and smooth and round and just dressing the entire part. Using the pointed punch I made, we're going to go ahead and create the nose for the horse. And now, using a slot chisel, we're going to make the mouth for the horse as well as the ear. You'll notice for the ear, I strike this at a bit of an angle. This helps to round up the edge of the horse's ear and to kind of give it more of a higher profile than the rest of the part and helps it stand out. Next is to make the horse's eye using the pointed punch. And when you're making these artistic details, take your time, really line up your tools, make them look nice, because once you put these marks in, they're impossible to get out. And next up is using the slot punch to create the horse's mane. Now, I actually spent quite a bit of time doing this, going back over them, reheating it, hitting it while it was hot, so I could really make these stand out and look nice. And as the good smiths always say, have all the tools you'll need before starting your job. Probably should have made some box tongs instead of just holding it with, well, a crotch. At this point, the part was getting pretty hot, so I decided to cool down the end that I was handling. Next, I'm using a hot cut to cut my part off, and I made sure to leave lots of excess material so I could really drip this hole out and make the opening nice and large. Now I'm just cleaning up the corners and that sharp edge created from using that Hardy cutoff tool. So to be completely honest, from this point onward, I was riding the struggle bus pretty hard. I don't know why, but my mind just wasn't working correctly and I was getting pretty tired. And I was making some very simple mistakes that I shouldn't have been making. Like, first and foremost, during this process of hot punching, I should have used the hold down tool like what you see right here. Now, using the Pritchell hole is great for driving out the punch, but when you want to expand your hole and make it larger, you should really be using the Hardy hole. But I didn't want to deform my part, and because, again, I wasn't in my right mind, I ended up driving my punch all the way through the Pritchell hole to the point where it got stuck. You can see that happening here. Now, I was really excited to do some forging. I haven't done it in a while, so again, I was making some simple mistakes, like, for example, not having all the tools that I need. In retrospect, I should have just forged a drip to drive through this hole to make it the proper size, instead of doing all this back and forth between trying to turn this part on the anvil and flattening it out on the face of the anvil. It was a lot of extra work I didn't really have to do. One other big point of struggle was the fact that I had such a limited range of motion to use the horn of the anvil to open this part up. You can actually see me kind of pause here as I'm walking away. I remembered seeing some other smiths standing on the opposite side of their anvil. This gave them a much better range of motion when forging their bottle openers. This technique was a big game changer that made this project a lot easier. It gave me a huge range of motion, which allowed me to evenly strike the outside surface of this bottle opener and clean up the inside of it and make it look much more professional. And finally, for the last step, I'm going to take that slot punch and go ahead and create the step that is used to catch the bottom of that bottle cap to pull it off. For this piece, I wanted a clean look, so I hit it with a wire brush and gave it a coating of clear coat. So there you are, folks. That's how you make a hand-forged horse head bottle opener. I had a lot of fun making this, but looking back, there are a few things I would change. One thing, the jawline on this horse, it's a little bit too square. I think I would have liked to have rounded that out a little bit more. The catch here, that catches the lip of the bottle cap, instead of having this lip here on the edge, I should have set my tool all the way to the edge of this to avoid this little sharp edge. This does function, but it doesn't quite catch as well as it should. Tooling would be the other thing. As you can see, I struggled quite a bit opening this up with my tooling. So, like many smiths in the trade have said, have all of your tools first. The other thing, this tool that I made here, this I guess you call a slot, or the punch that I use to make these marks here, I should have made this profile a little bit wider and a little bit flatter. It gets the job done, but not quite the shape I like. But as far as the nostrils and the eye, turned out perfect. So overall, I'm very happy. So thank you for watching, everyone. Please subscribe and please like. Please leave me a comment down below if there's anything else you'd like to see. Thank you so much for your subscriptions, everyone. We're almost at 3,000, which is amazing. And as always, I will continue to invest the money that I make from this channel into making better videos. So thank you for watching, everyone. Work hard and stay humble.